This is a collection of Norwegian role-playing games translated into English, and they're very diverse. We've had like a tradition of writing short games for competitions, and the great thing about short games is you can smack like, I think we have 17 games in this book, and they're easy to play and easy to run. So it's actually been picked up by quite a few people and played around the world. In Japan and in the States and in Italy. And people have translated some of the games into Italian, which is amazing. Let's see, do I have any examples? No. Yeah. Then, after a while, once again I was talking to my childhood friend about making a role-playing game. This time it was going to be based on a book series for youngsters called Elf Sign. They're hugely popular among kids, but nobody knows what kids are reading. The papers don't care and the grown-ups don't know, so kids reading culture is like a big mystery to most people, or at least people ignore it. This guy's like big in Norway, only you don't know his name, Sigurd Mostu. And we were going to make a role-playing game based on his books. And as usual, we started changing the project along the way, so it stopped being a role-playing game and it turned into an ARG, an alternate reality game. Has anyone here heard about or read Kathy's book? No, like, well, you should. It's sort of a puzzle book. It's a diary for a girl, but then you have lots of like different things. You can call her phone for real, and hear messages. And if you get the codes from the book, you can dial them in and hear secret messages that her friends have left, and you can go to web pages, and you can read the book all by itself, but you can get an extra layer of narrative by doing all the internet things. So we wanted to make something like that, and we did this, Mørkeboka. Mørkeboka is a generic term for the dark books that of evil occultiness that people would have in the 1800s with spells. So the Norwegian priests actually would have Mørkebok with folkloristic myths in them. So we made this book, and it was fun. I don't know how much it's sold because it is a weird thing for a lot of people. But we had internet sites for we had a fake psychiatric institution that would take people in and turn them into goblins of some sort, or trolls. And we have a contact page for that institution. I still get mail from them saying, "Is this real?" But the most scary mails are, "Yes, I know this is real, I've seen them too, please contact me." That's okay. Staying away from that. I noticed that the more you go into fantasy and stuff, the more you kind of find it easy to divide reality from fantasy, and you're not really interested in some random occult system because they're usually boring and badly constructed. All right. So we're getting to the present time. This is this game. If someone wants to have a look at it, put in time to play. This is based on a few things. I made a game called Archipelago, which I made because I love Ursula Le Guin and wanted to make a game that sort of emulated her storytelling techniques. And I also wanted a game that lets you listen to other players and respect their place in the story, so everyone can actually have a protagonist and get their story told without having to go into party play and ignoring your personality. So I made that game. I made it twice, and then Jason Morningstar, who's a great American designer, he's done games like Grey Ranks and Fiasco and lots of games you should pick up and check out. And he made what he called a hack for Archipelago, which basically meant he made a scenario on top of it, so you could just pick it up and play. Instead of making your own characters and your own setting, you would just pick that up and play it straight away. And that was a great idea. I never thought of it because I'm really horrible at marketing my stuff and getting people to getting it into people's hands. I just make the games and put them out there and think, hey, people will find them. But he knows that if you want people to play a game, you have to make it easy for them. So that worked very well. And then I contacted him and said, hey, let's make a game together because this is really cool. And we ended up making this, Love in the Time of Seið, which Seið is an ancient Norse word for magic, and it's the sort of magic that women use But actually, Odin also uses that magic, so Odin is sort of gay in a way. And this game has like a very strong set of characters. There's 5 pre-generated characters who all are in conflict with each other or in love with each other. You have the old king who is defending his Cronenberg kingdom, and he has an enemy, which is the Eastern Kingdom. So you have an earl from the Eastern Kingdom who's coming there. The earl wants to marry the princess, I guess. Marry the princess, who is the daughter of the king, but she doesn't want to marry the earl. Of course, she wants to marry the earl's knight, but the knight doesn't care about the princess, and he's a werewolf, and he wants to marry the Seid, who's the witch. But the witch doesn't want any of them. She just wants to rule the kingdom from behind the scenes. So she wants whoever is in power, she'll support them. So it's a very intriguing, dark thing. And you have some setting to start with, but you keep building on it along the way. So people do crazy and megalomaniac stuff with it. It's very fun. So yeah, that's one of the very newest games that just came out a month ago, I think. I'm sure. And then there's this one, the Society of Readers. If anyone, you probably had a look at it, but if someone wants to look at it, go ahead. And this is based on a wish from another friend of mine, Tracon. He also makes games. He's also in the Nørwegian Style book. So we all know each other. It's like really incestuous, but we have fun. This game, he said he wanted a game about occult 18th century people investigating people's dreams and finding the creatures that live there. And I decided, I want to make that game because that's cool. And I made it over a period of 2 years. And I used this design method that I like very much, which is just you prototype something straight away. I made the first playtest document in half a day after I got the idea. And then playtested it in that week, made a new design document, playtest next week, and did this as much as I could. And then at some point I let it simmer for half a year because I had no idea what to do with it. And at one point I decided I was done, and then decided I'd lie to myself. And I kept playing it with different people in different contexts until I had a game that really works with really, really different people. I can play it with Norwegian tabletop gamers, and I can play it with Italian freeform enthusiasts, and it works all over the board. And by now I don't know exactly why it does what it does so well, because I've taken out things and put things back in, and the result is something that just emerges from the combination of techniques in there. And exactly how it works, I don't know. I can probably analyze it afterwards, but I could never design the game by analyzing it or rationally beforehand. I could never put this together in my head. It's all emerged organically. I like that very much. It's my favorite game, but usually your newest game is your favorite game. So, I don't know how much time. Yeah, we have a little bit of time. Okay, so.
We can move the game a bit later.
Yeah.
So you can just speak until you finish it.
Yeah, well, I'm probably finished in 10 minutes anyways. But I thought I'd say that my design philosophy right now, I put a question mark on it because it's not something I've thought much about in those terms, but I think I want games that can put me in a different mental state, so those are the games I want to make. I don't want to be like Matthijs sitting at the table, I want to be in a different place in my head. And society really puts me in a different place. And the best way of getting into a different place, I think, is by achieving flow. Have you heard of the term flow? It's done by a guy called Matthijs something or other in Polish or Hungarian. And it's the feeling you get when you have a challenge that's exactly right for you, and you kind of forget time and where you are. And it's very common in sports to talk about flow. You're out jogging and then you're in the zone and you can just keep going forever and it just feels right, or all these things. But in gaming you obviously have flow as well. Sometimes it's really creaky and you're very conscious of yourself and your body sitting in the chair and the other players, and the pauses in between talking, and oh my god, is this gonna work? I'm gonna be bored for 4 hours with these idiots. And then you get into this after a while. Often you get into this flow where you don't really see the other people feel yourself that much. You just feel like for me, it feels a bit like we have this shimmering golden ball and we're all throwing our magic in it, and it just gets bigger and more wonderful, and that's the feeling I really, really want. I'm sure everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it feels like this for me. So right now I'm looking for this cooperative flow, because for me the flow is the best when everyone is, spinning the ball and putting things in there. If there's just one game master, you put all the... one person has so many limitations, it's kind of hard for one person to really know what the group wants. And also, for me, when someone is game mastering or railroading, in a railroading way, I don't feel like I'm playing a role-playing game. I want to really be in on the action and partake. So I don't want either the full responsibility for the whole group, and I don't want to be just a bit player in somebody else's vision. I want everyone to join in and make something great together. And that's what I designed for, at this moment at least. So, and I also want games to be sort of art-like. I want good art. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like very highfalutin, but it does need to have some sort of feeling that this can bring you to a new place or give you a new experience or transcend what you usually experience. So I play games that are just games, just for fun, and I think that's great, but the best games for me are the ones that try to be something more than that. So I'm a really pretentious bastard that way. And I like to do crazy stuff. So as I said earlier, if you have a crazy idea for a game, you should definitely try to make it. Someone else out there will love it. Maybe your friends will say it's a stupid idea, but someone on the internet or someone at a con will sign up for it, will play it, will try it out, and have fun with it. So I would end up by recommending everyone design whatever you feel like. If you want to design something, do it straight away. Since this is like my official guest of honor speech, I want to end up by saying thank you to people. I want to thank all the Tracon hosts for inviting me here. I want to thank Amy especially for being such an excellent miner and excellent contact info and all the updates, and she's been amazing. Thank you very much. I want to thank you guys for listening to me, and I want to thank Nørwegian for recommending me to come here. And I want to thank all the people who aren't here right now, all the organizers and the drivers and the people who are making food and everyone. And yeah, I want to end up by, let's see, there we go. Presenting a little present for the organizers, so you guys can actually get to play something maybe sometime, instead of just sitting around minding us, you guys. So thank you very much, people. Thanks for coming. And maybe we can play a game afterward.